You find the credit card statement first. It's on the kitchen counter, mixed in with the grocery receipts and the pizza delivery flyers you meant to throw away 3 days ago. The envelope's already open. You don't recognize the issuing bank. Your partner's name is on the account, but the balance is not a number you've ever discussed. $17,000. You read it 4 times before your brain accepts that the decimal point isn't moving. Your hands go cold. You check your phone to see if they've texted. They haven't. You're now carrying a secret about their secret, and you haven't even decided what to do with it yet. But the real answer is far stranger than any single hidden card or undisclosed debt. The real answer is that financial infidelity doesn't just damage a relationship the way a physical affair does. It damages a relationship in ways an affair cannot reach. Think about what an affair actually destroys. It betrays physical exclusivity, emotional intimacy, the agreement that this particular part of your life belongs only to the two of you. It's devastating. It's clear. There is a person, a hotel room, a series of lies about late meetings. You can name what was broken. But financial infidelity doesn't work like that. It doesn't announce itself with lipstick on a collar or a missed dinner. It lives in the space between ordinary transactions. It hides inside the everyday. A package arrives and you assume they mentioned it. A dinner out feels generous until you realize it went on a card you didn't know existed. The betrayal doesn't happen in a single moment of discovery. It happens over years, in slow motion, every time they handed you a receipt that didn't tell the full story. You weren't betrayed once. You were betrayed 1,000 times, and you didn't know until now. The numbers are hard to look away from. Bankrate's 2026 survey found that 43% of American adults believe keeping financial secrets from a romantic partner is at least as bad as physical infidelity. Not almost as bad, at least as bad. And yet, according to the same survey, 2 in 5 people in committed relationships have done it. 40% have committed financial infidelity. 23% are hiding debt their partner doesn't know about. 17% have a secret credit card. 1 in 3 have spent more money than their partner would be okay with and simply never mentioned it. The behavior is everywhere, and the judgment of that behavior is harsh, and somehow both things are true at the same time. We are living inside a contradiction we refuse to name out loud. We expect total financial transparency from the person we love most, and we are not giving it to them. So why do people do it? Why does someone hide money from the person they share a bed with, a future with, a Netflix password with? The instinctive answer is selfishness, greed, irresponsibility. But the research says otherwise. In 2020, a team of consumer psychologists led by Emily Garbinsky at the University of Notre Dame published a landmark study in the Journal of Consumer Research that effectively created the academic framework for understanding financial infidelity. Garbinsky and her colleagues ran 10 laboratory studies and 1 field study using real bank account data from couples. They developed what's now called the financial infidelity scale, and what they found challenges the simple narrative of the secretive spender. Financial infidelity, they discovered, is not primarily about wanting more things. It's about wanting more autonomy. It's about the fear of being controlled, the fear of being judged, the fear of having to explain yourself to another person every time you want something. The money isn't the point. The secret is the point. The secret becomes a private room in a house you share with someone else. This is where financial infidelity becomes psychologically distinct from other forms of betrayal. An affair is often about escape into a different world, a fantasy version of yourself that exists outside the relationship. Financial infidelity is about carving out a private self inside the relationship. It's not a separate life. It's a separate chamber of the same life. Every hidden purchase is a small declaration of independence. Every undisclosed account is a vote that says, I need a space where your opinion doesn't reach me. And here's why that cuts so deep when it's discovered. You didn't just learn that your partner spent money. You learned that your partner built an entire structure designed to keep you out. The debt is bad. The architecture of exclusion is worse. The discovery doesn't feel like finding out about a mistake. It feels like finding out you were living next door to someone who had a whole other house you never got invited into. There's another dimension that makes financial betrayal uniquely disorienting, and it has to do with time. Physical infidelity typically involves a discovery event. You find a text message or a receipt, or you get a confession. There is a before and an after. Financial infidelity rarely works that way. It bleeds into the past without your permission. Once you find the first secret, you have to re-examine every financial decision the two of you ever made together. That vacation you couldn't really afford, but took anyway, because they said they'd figure it out. The time they told you not to worry about the car repair, because they'd handle it. The Christmas they went over budget on gifts for the kids, and you agreed to tighten up in January. Every one of those memories now has a question mark attached to it. Was the vacation paid for with hidden credit? Was the car repair covered by an account you didn't know existed? Were you tightening your budget while they were spending freely from a different pool of money you never got to see? Financial infidelity doesn't just damage trust going forward, it retroactively contaminates trust going backward. It makes you doubt your own memory of your own relationship. Ted Rossman, Bankrate's senior industry analyst, captured this elegantly when he told reporters that secrets take on a life of their own, undermining trust and the relationship. The fix is communication. That sounds simple. It is not simple. Because the communication Rossman is describing isn't the conversation where you ask whether they remembered to pay the electric bill. It's the conversation where you ask who you are to each other when the receipts are all on the table. Most couples have never had that conversation. They've had conversations about budgets and expenses and goals, which are conversations about numbers. But they haven't had the conversation about what money means, what it represents, whether spending feels like freedom or spending feels like failure, whether debt feels like a moral failing or a temporary condition. Those conversations are vulnerable in a way that budget spreadsheets are not. They require admitting that you have a relationship with money that predates your relationship with this person, and those two relationships may not be compatible. Here is the counterintuitive twist that most discussions of financial infidelity miss entirely. The couples at highest risk are not the ones who fight about money constantly. The couples at highest risk are the ones who never fight about money at all. Silence is not the same thing as agreement. Silence is often avoidance dressed up as harmony. A 2024 longitudinal study published in the Journal of Family and Economic Issues tracked 124 couples over the course of a month, measuring both financial infidelity and what the researchers called financial snooping. The couples who avoided money conversations entirely were not peaceful. They were parallel. They were running separate financial lives that happened to share a mailing address. And when the secrets eventually surfaced, as they almost always do, the damage was far greater because there was no existing infrastructure for talking about it. They had to build trust and build communication skills at the same time, which is like trying to perform surgery while also learning anatomy. This brings us to the modern mirror, and it's not a flattering reflection. Digital money has made financial infidelity easier to commit and harder to detect than at any point in human history. You don't need to hide a physical statement anymore. A credit card can live entirely inside an app on a phone that your partner never touches. A Venmo transaction looks identical, whether it's splitting dinner or funding a hidden account. Buy now, pay later services let purchases arrive at your door before they appear on any statement at all. Cryptocurrency wallets exist entirely outside the banking system. The very tools that make money management convenient also make financial secrecy frictionless. You don't have to work to hide things, you just have to not mention them. The default setting of the modern financial system is privacy, and privacy becomes secrecy the moment you're in a relationship that deserves transparency. Most couples never explicitly decide where the line is. They just drift past it without noticing. The digital mirror also reflects something uncomfortable about how we judge financial betrayal versus physical betrayal in the 21st century. If your partner sleeps with someone else, you have a vocabulary for that. You have friends who will understand. You have a cultural script. If your partner opens a credit card in secret and runs up debt you'll both be legally responsible for, you have none of those things. The betrayal is harder to explain, harder to get sympathy for, harder to even name as betrayal. You find yourself saying things like, "It's just money," or "at least nobody got hurt," even though someone did get hurt, and it was you, and the injury is both emotional and practical. Hidden debt affects your credit score. It affects your ability to rent an apartment or buy a house. It follows you into your financial future, whether you stay in the relationship or leave it. An affair can break your heart. Financial infidelity can break your heart and also break your ability to get a mortgage. That's not a metaphor. That's a FICO score. So what does repair actually look like when the betrayal lives in a spreadsheet rather than a hotel room? The first thing to understand is that financial infidelity almost always requires two separate repair processes running simultaneously. One is the practical repair. You have to know the full extent of the damage. You have to run credit reports. You have to see every account, every balance, every statement. There is no recovery without total financial transparency, and total financial transparency is terrifying because it means looking at numbers that might change how you see your future. The second repair process is the emotional one, and it's harder because it requires answering a question that can't be answered by a spreadsheet. Why did you need a part of your life that I couldn't see? What were you protecting yourself from? Was it me? Was it a version of yourself that you didn't want me to meet? Was it fear? Was it shame? Was it the belief that you couldn't be fully known without being rejected? These are not questions about money. They are questions about whether someone believes they deserve to be loved without hiding. Garbinsky's research team found something hopeful buried in their data, and it's worth ending on. The couples who recovered from financial infidelity didn't simply stop hiding things. They built what the researchers called a shared financial identity. They moved from his money and her money to our money, not as a legal arrangement, but as a psychological one. They started seeing financial decisions as collaborative rather than competitive. They stopped treating transparency as a punishment and started treating it as a form of respect. This doesn't mean every couple needs joint accounts for everything. Many couples thrive with some financial independence. But independence and secrecy are not the same thing. You can have separate accounts and still have no secrets. You can maintain financial autonomy without maintaining financial walls. The difference is whether your partner knows the shape of your financial life, even if they don't control it. The difference is whether you answer the question, what would they think if they saw this before you spend the money, not after. The one thing to try is not a budget meeting and not a confession session. It's smaller than that. In your next ordinary moment together, when neither of you is stressed about money, simply ask this question. What does money mean to you? Not what it buys, not what it costs, what it means. Is it safety? Is it freedom? Is it proof that you're doing okay? Is it a scoreboard? Is it a source of shame? Ask the question, and then don't talk. Just listen. Don't correct their answer. Don't explain how you see it differently. Just receive their answer as information about who they are. That single conversation, that willingness to understand money not as math, but as meaning, does more to prevent financial infidelity than any joint account or spending rule ever could. Because people don't hide money from someone who understands why money matters to them. They hide money from someone they're afraid won't understand. The secret isn't protection from judgment about spending. The secret is protection from judgment about who you are. And that kind of secret, it turns out, is the most expensive thing you will ever keep. You find the credit card statement first. It's on the kitchen counter, mixed in with the grocery receipts and the pizza delivery flyers you meant to throw away 3 days ago. The envelope's already open.